How do you sort out the so-called jargon from real-world practices that work? Do the members of your organization find some business or technology advice utterly confusing? Welcome to Real Talk with Sam Holcman. In this program, we set the record straight, and in terms that business people and technology people can understand. Now, here is your host, Sam Holcman.
Welcome to this edition of Real Talk. I'm Sam Holcman. Thanks for joining me. And this particular broadcast was actually inspired by a phrase that I saw in an article in the Wall Street Journal. And that phrase was critical ignoring. Critical ignoring. So let me suggest that the key to enterprise architect and business architect survival skills for 2026 is actually critical ignoring. Not of information, but of so-called experts in business architecture and enterprise architecture. We are living as architects in an age of endless low-quality information and recycled self-declared best practices. Framework tourists, certification logos with no delivery record, 1,600-page manuals that need another 800 pages just to implement, and most recently, another rambling set of explanations on the explanations. Your brain was not designed to drink from this fire hose. Yet most architects feel guilty if they do not constantly consume more. More articles, more models, more methods, more reference architectures, more online posts. In 2026, the real differentiator is not how much you can read. It is how ruthlessly you can ignore the voices that cannot show real, recent EA or BA outcomes in real organizations and not just speak philosophy. Ignore the frameworks and methodologies that demand months and years of tailoring before the business sees a single decision improved. Ignore the multiple choice exam certifications that measure memorization and regurgitation instead of judgment, systems thinking, and stakeholder trust. And those that write and pontificate based on these so-called credentials. Ignore certifications that guarantee a multiple choice pass, but not Monday morning delivery. Ignore encyclopedias of knowledge that never turn into action. Critical ignoring means fighting the instinct to consume everything and instead curating a very small set of sources that show concrete, business measurable results. Use language your executives can actually understand and act on. Help you practice and develop architecture that survives constant change in the real enterprise. In the world drowning in EA and BA content, the architects who will thrive will not be the ones who consume the most. They are the ones that start choosing instead. Start choosing practitioner-based enterprise architecture that gets you building usable architectures during the workshop and ready to start next Monday morning. The Enterprise Architecture Center of Excellence's Quick Start Enterprise methodology and hands-on certification is example of that. Practitioner-based business architecture that is realistic, enabling, actionable, and logical, engineered to be the highest returning and most cost-effective way to do business architecture. The Business Architecture Center of Excellence Real Business Architecture program is a prime example of that. In an age of informed and information overload, critical ignoring is not optional. They will be the ones, the successful ones, that ignore 95% of the things that are posted so they can go deep in the 5% that actually change decisions, risks, and outcomes. Your key survival skill in 2026 is not staying up to date. It is critical ignoring of low quality performative expertise so you can focus on the few practices that actually really work and have demonstrated to work. Your key survival skill for 2026 is not passing another multiple choice exam. It is critical ignoring. We are in the age of endless low-quality expert content about enterprise architecture and business architecture, what I like to call framework tourists, and reference architectures that never get used, and manuals so big they need another manual just to implement, and more commentary to understand the additional manual that was written to understand the first manual. Doesn't that sound crazy? Most architecture are drowning in content and information. They will never apply. The ones who will matter in 2026 are the ones who ruthlessly ignore almost everything and go deep into the few sources that can show real outcomes, real decisions, and real change in real organizations. Critical ignoring is not laziness. It is a professional survival skill. And for serious enterprise architects and business architectures, and business architectures and business architects and enterprise architectures, it might be the most important capability to sharpen this year. For enterprise architecture done by practitioners, not paper, please see www.eacoe.org. For real business architecture that leads to outcomes, not technobabble, please see www.bacoe.org. It will be our pleasure and privilege to speak with you.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk. Be sure to join your host, Sam Holcman, again for another edition of our program. We'll have more real topics of discussion then.